Historically, Halloween, or Samhain as it is known as a pagan Sabbath, has been known as a powerful time for divination, especially divination when it came to love, relationships, and marriage. So we are going to do an old-fashioned tarot divination reading in regards to love, relationships, and marriages. Spirit, what do we need to know at this time when the veil is known to be at its thinnest? What would our ancestors like to tell us in regards to love, relationships, and marriage? I am going to take the top 4 cards and read the bottom card also. We have got the 8 of Wands, the 7 of Wands, the King of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles, and bottom of the deck energy, we have got the Devil. Every one of these cards is completely adorable, even this Devil card. We can see the vines that are wrapped around this mouse and holding them to this ink pot. The vine has thorns that is digging into this mouse. It is really suggesting, where have we got ourselves caught in loops and in patterns where we might ultimately be hurting ourselves? It is a painful card to look at, seeing something so innocent in this much pain. Going back to the history of Samhain, at one point in history it actually marked the last day of the year, and the 1st of November was seen as a brand new year. It is when the last of the harvests were gathered in order to survive the long winters ahead. What I feel that this message is that Samhain, or Halloween if you prefer to call it that, is a perfect time to release what is no longer serving you. What patterns may you have repeated that are now detrimental to your well-being? To whom do you have cords and attachments that might need to be released? And if you are like this little mouse and stuck and do not know how to get out of this, then your ancestors are saying you may ask for help. Indeed, did you realize that this is a free will universe? And often our ancestors and our spirit guides want to help us, but they require us to ask them to do so. So there is this suggestion of cutting away cords to people, to places, to mindsets that no longer serve your highest good at this time, so that you may enter a new period of your life. What you are destined for is completely the opposite with the 10 of Pentacles. You are not destined to stay in that loop. The 10 of Pentacles speaks of putting down very stable roots and having a very successful life. One where there is abundance of many kinds. Now the artist has placed the pentacles around this picture frame. And I don't know that this could be a more perfect illustration for Halloween. And speaking of our ancestors, you may recognize that you come from a very strong lineage. And with that, I'm speaking of mental strength. Some of these cords and patterns that we are speaking of may even be discussing the fact that you are breaking very painful generational patterns. And because of this, the abundance in which you are going to experience is going to be magnificent. Your life is meant to be full of abundance, and this abundance coming in many forms. And it feels from this illustration that it is your ancestors who are guiding you towards this. I know Halloween can be a very busy evening for those of us that have families, but what I would suggest is that at some point over the next 3 days, when these veils are at their thinnest, that you maybe take some time to journal, to script, to tap into these energies, and to see what information comes through for you. I am really noticing the books, the writing, and the feather. Because time is not linear, when you do this work for yourself and for your ancestors, it sends ripples of healing through all timelines. You have an entire team that wants you to succeed. When this work has been done, you will see the blessings flowing to you at a very fast pace here with this Eight of Wands. We can see these fish who are able to go through this window, escaping and finding this new sense of freedom. We often think of abundance as purely monetary, but true abundance comes from freedom. Freedom of not having to worry about finances. Freedom of being surrounded by others who are like-minded, and there is this easy flow between you. The Eight of Wands traditionally talks about being one of the fastest moving cards of the deck, and usually has a time associated with it that spans from 8 days to 8 weeks to 8 months. So this freedom coming within a period of 8 months. It feels like you are the one who breaks free first, and then all of your shoal follow you through. It almost gives me this feeling of quantum jumping. So this reading very much does talk about love, and we're going to come to that momentarily, but it also feels like it is talking about relationships and soul connections of many kinds, of ancestors who are trying to guide your path, and of this soul family effort of you all working together for you to achieve your purpose, to quantum jump into this place of freedom, and that requiring you to leave these old patterns and old generational habits or mindsets behind. We then have this Seven of Wands here. It's a card that speaks of making a stance, a strong decision and moving forward with it, being strong and protecting yourself from all that may take you from your path. And it feels like this King of Cups is almost like the carrot at the end of the stick. This King of Cups, someone who is so empathic, loving and supportive. This feels like someone who has already reached this place that we have spoken of in this quantum field. The artist has chosen a heron to represent the King of Cups. The spiritual symbolism behind a heron is speaking of someone who is self-sufficient and wise. And I very much feel that this is the person who you are going to be guided towards. Someone who carries so much grace. If you have always been the person who has been the most evolved within a relationship, then this feels different. This feels like someone who is going to inspire you, and with whom you are going to share this abundance and this freedom. These cards are absolutely magnificent, and if any of you are going to be in London this coming Saturday on November the 2nd, I am going to be meeting the artist and the creator of this deck. They have an open house at Watkins Bookstore, one of the oldest metaphysical bookstores in Europe. I really encourage anyone who can to go and support them. Like I say, I will be there at some point through the afternoon also, so would love to meet any of you. Of course, as I always say, this reading is not meant to be for everyone, so please listen to your intuition as to whether this reading is for you. There is also a teeny tiny handful of private readings available, including a special on 11/11 readings. The link can be found within my bio.